Okay, part 5 of the news roundup for the 14th of August. The Bolivian government has announced that its president will participate in the upcoming BRICS summit in South Africa with the intention of seeking alliance and investments to accelerate the industrialization of the country's natural resources, particularly lithium. Oh, that's going to upset the Americans an awful lot, especially as they're too busy bombing Africa to actually make any trade agreements with them. If Bolivia starts sending all of its lithium to BRICS, that is going to really upset the West. The first numbers of troops involved in a hypothetical intervention in Niger are beginning to emerge. About 25,000 troops would participate in such an operation. That's still 5,000 less than they have in Niger. So I'm not sure how that works, to be honest. They've got 30,000 troops, they've got Wagner, and they've got support from Mali. So already seems to be pointless to me. A large number, if we take into account the strength of African armies in the region. As expected, Nigeria would be the leader of the operation and would constitute the bulk of this standby force. I really, really hope this starts to tone down now, because this looks like a complete nightmare for the people of Nigeria and the people of Niger together. Seriously worrying. And here are where Wagner are situated, all around Niger, and they will go in and they will help. France and US are concerned about the deployment of Wagner forces on Niger's territory, as this would complicate them bombing Niger. Well, what a shame, guys. What a crying shame. But what is interesting to me is they're suggesting sending 25,000 Nigerian and other troops in to match the 30,000 Nigerian troops and also the 26 million very angry people in Niger. What do they think is going to happen? It seems always to me like the West just provide enough resources so that people go and kill themselves rather than actually win anything, exactly like they've done in Ukraine, and now we're seeing that again. Is this yet another WEF tactic to try and reduce the amount of breedable African men? Because I think that's going to be a much harder task than it was in Ukraine. There is an awful lot more Africans than there were Ukrainians. Côte d'Ivoire is so far the only one of the 15 ECOWAS member countries that has indicated the number of troops it will send if it intervenes in Niger, and it will send 850. I'm not sure that that's going to have much impact. It seems to me like that is more of a kind of cursory, yes, all right, we'll do this, but we don't really want to sort of vibe than anything else. The UAE promised the Americans to send humanitarian aid to the Sudanese, but under the guise of this aid sent several shipments of weapons to the Rapid Reactions Force, which are fighting the Sudanese army. Well, that says a lot about the actors playing in this. Is this in fact what we are seeing, a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and America? Is that what we're seeing play out in Sudan? That's the only thing that's made sense to me so far. So it's just terrible waste of life. The Minister of Defence of Niger arrived in Mali, where he met with the President Gautier and possibly with the local leadership of the Wagner PMC. There seems to be a lot of collaborations going on. Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea. I think that they're developing quite a strong resistance force to what's coming from the West. China have developed a laser weapon that can rapid fire. This has been a problem because of heat or something. Anyway, it will change things on the battlefield. And again, China is just way ahead of the West when it comes to weapons. They just need to make lots and lots and lots of them, because they've got lots and lots and lots and lots of people join the army. As I've pointed out before, if China mobilizes and they are 10% successful, they will have an army of 30 million military-aged men. That is vast. That is not something that NATO, America, or in fact the rest of the world all put together could deal with. So, yes, I think perhaps maybe a conversation would be best. Welcome to Ukraine, the most corrupt nation in Europe. This is from The Guardian, while the conflict with Russia heats up in the east, life for most Ukrainians is marred by corruption so endemic, even hospitals appear to be infected. Can anyone clean the country up? Yes, Guardian, the Russians can clean the country up, and that is what they are doing. And when they said they were going to, the correct answer from NATO should have been, how do we help? Not, let's just fund the Nazis. Hello 999, which pronoun do you require? Emergency operators are warned to ask callers how they want to be referred to rather than misgendering them based on their voices. Wow. I have to say, when I phoned 999, it's been for emergency reasons, and how people believe me to sound on the phone is the least of my concerns. If you are phoning 999 and you're worried about your pronouns, you probably don't need to be phoning 999. That's the reality. This is a little infogram of what China has built in Africa: 10,000 kilometres of railway, 100,000 kilometres of roads, 100 ports, many schools and hospitals, nearly 1,000 bridges. The reality is that in the last 10 years, Africa has had more infrastructure support from China than it has had from the West in 200 years prior. That is why Africa is happy to work with China and wants nothing to do with the West. We have a very, very, very limited time to change this, and I suggest we start thinking about how, and quickly, because once again, we need Africa an awful lot more than Africa needs us. There's been mass protests in Ghana about no war in Africa, and complaining about the government's readiness to support ECOWAS. As usual, they have Russian flags. They are very, very concerned about the war happening in Niger and the sanctions on Niger, and they're fighting to try and make Africa unite with itself rather than with the West. So hard to see. Africa, please unite with your brothers, because Western partners, they do not want what's best for you whatsoever. To the Americans, if Niger and Nigeria go to war with each other and it kills 30,000 Nigerians, they'll still see that as a win. It's still Nigerian men dead. That's all that they want, honestly. They're eugenicists. That is what they are. We are being run by Nazi eugenicists. That's what is happening. So you are literally just playing into them, their wills when you fight each other. Please don't. American views of public figures in the news. Apparently, Americans like Prince William of England most of all, and Vladimir Putin least of all, with Jill Biden coming in a close third. I mean, even in this obviously nonsense polling, Joe Biden is still pretty unfavourable. My goodness. Can you imagine who they have actually got to interview for this? Kamala Harris. My goodness. King Charles is better than the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, or Mike Pence, or Joe Biden. This is so too funny. Senior Iranian military inspectors paid a visit to the Lebanese-Israeli border, and they are assessing the military readiness of Hezbollah, and also held a meeting with the Secretary General. According to Israel, Iran has been consistently checking on its allies' military readiness in the past couple of weeks in case of a conflict with Israel. Now, I hate war, but this is one I would welcome. I would welcome a war against Israel that ended with Israel gone, because it's evil. Local Pakistani and Chinese state media has reported that a convoy of Chinese engineers was attacked near a police station in Pakistan. Bad news. Nigerian Muslims have demonstrated against war with Niger, understandably. Finally, this is the scene of a terrorist attack in Iran just last night. I believe 6 people died. They have detained the suspect, and this is the mosque where he attacked. God bless everyone involved, and I hope I hope we stop hearing stories like this. Anyway, that is the end of the extra long news roundup for today. I wish you all well. Have a lovely day. Do check out YouTube, Twitter. Consider buying me a coffee or joining my Patreon if you'd like to. And God bless.